It's a low kick, not very far. Here comes Matt Cody. Trying to get across the 40, runs back and stopped at the 45, a 34-yard punt, and the coaches will not like that. Cody actually ran backwards, lost 5 yards on the return, and there is a flag down on the play. It's an 11-point Hamilton lead with 8:14 to go in the third quarter.
If you want full office suite power at a word processor price, look no further than Corel WordPerfect Suite. Corel WordPerfect Suite includes an exceptionally intelligent word processor, an award-winning spreadsheet, amazing presentation graphics, plus business graphics and utilities, hundreds of fonts and thousands of clip art images. Corel WordPerfect Suite delivers office suite power at a word processor price.
Are you ready to taste the one sandwich that started it all for Subway? The classic Italian BMT. 4 magnificent kinds of delicious deli meats on fresh baked bread. Plus, your choice of fresh veggies. You want tomatoes, lettuce, onions. Just point and you got them. Which makes this Italian classic a mouth-watering masterpiece. Hey, is it any wonder the classic Italian BMT is still taking everyone by storm? So hurry in to get the one that started it all. The classic Italian BMT from Subway.
Mike, don't forget, we're putting in the Malibu lights today. Mike?
Malibu outdoor lights. Easy to assemble. Safe, low voltage. Easy to install. Just set the timer and watch Malibu lights brighten up your home.
Kathy!
Hi, honey.
The place looks great. These Malibu lights really dress up the house.
Mike?
Yes! These lights really are great.
Give your home that professional look with Malibu lights. Available at these leading retailers.
Ryan Carey, just acquired by Saskatchewan a couple of days ago, takes a costly penalty. It was no yards against the Riders and then piling on, and it's a 30-yard penalty.
Well, it doesn't occur right till the end. You'll see from the left of your screen, 31 come flying in. He's definitely down. He kind of takes a shot at his face. Not much of a hit, but still pretty silly penalty to take.
And so this means the Ticats will start the drive at the Saskatchewan 13-yard line. Dunnigan is 6 for 7 passing in the third quarter. Here comes the blitz. He gets away from Van Bellingham. And now Dunnigan in a foot race to the corner. Dunnigan waiting for a block. Dives! Touchdown! There's a flag down at the 3-yard line as Matt Dunnigan puts that head down and gets in. And now we'll see who the penalty's against. Sounds like holding against Hamilton. And if it's on Earl Winfield, it's the second time he's been called.
Holding, Hamilton number 1.
Yeah.
Repeat first down.
That happened to Winfield before on another Dunnigan run.
Well, he's trying to help his quarterback out right here. See the left hand right on Donaldson. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that.
So it negates Matt Dunnigan's rushing touchdown, and that would have been Hamilton's first rushing touchdown of the season. Maybe Earl wants to catch one. Now the field position not so good. 1st and 20 from the 23. Dunnigan running for his life. Back to the 40. Gets it away and one hops it there for Ted Long, and he's just as happy to do that. Matt Dunnigan almost took his team out of field goal range there.
Well, I'll tell you, you have to give Saskatchewan their front four credit tonight. I mean, they have done a lot of running, and they still have some gas in the tank to chase him around. He's a tough guy to chase around because he's doing more running than I've seen him do normally. And I think it's because of the heat of Bobby Jurison and his teammates.
Bet you Bobby Jurison's glad he lost those 35 pounds.
He's probably lost 35 again tonight.
Dunnigan under pressure, dropped. And look who's there, Bobby Jurison. The 11th year man out of Northern Michigan, and Bobby J is having some kind of night. That's his 3rd sack of the evening, and it's a big one as Hamilton was right on the Saskatchewan doorstep.
Yeah, and here's Bobby Jurison against Dwayne Morgan. I mean, this isn't fancy. This is just a straight speed rush, and he just beats him. Gosh, he gets held and everything, too, so that's just a lot of heart and desire by Bobby Jurison to make that sack.
Well, you got to think that Saskatchewan feared the worst with a 30-yard penalty, and Hamilton first down at the 13-yard line. Now Osbaldiston will try a 36-yard field goal. And he's pushed it to the right. And Aaron Ruffin will run around for a while, concede the single point, and Saskatchewan really dodges one there. A poor offensive series, some mistakes on special teams, but they get away with just one, and now Hamilton leads by 12.
And I guess the good news is we're only halfway through the third quarter with 7:04 to go. So, I mean, there hasn't been too much go right for Saskatchewan here in this second half. So if they can maybe build on what might be a positive, a field goal miss there, and try and get something going. But it can't be another 2-and-out for Warren Jones and his offense. And, you know, Don Southern knows this. I mean, this game is not the kind of game that he's got in hand at this point. And he knows there's a long way to go.
Ask the BC Lions about that in Ottawa on Friday night.
Yeah. Well, you know, you look at this receiving core, too, and Saskatchewan could light it up in a hurry.
On first down, they fake to Mims. And send it up to the far side to Rod Harris. Oh, man, did he get whacked. I mean, Rob Hitchcock dropped a ton of bricks on it.
Rod Harris with the reception. He is rocked by Rob Hitchcock.
Well, Rob Hitchcock, 6'1" and 215 pounds at the middle safety, and just listen to this one. You don't have to talk over this one. I think there's a little black paint on Rod Harris's green helmet right now.
Yikes. Back to the ground to Robert Mims, and Mims gets knocked around a little bit. Calvin Tingle in there again initially. Mike Philbrook helps finish him off. And it's been two very physical football games for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Warren Jones told me yesterday he has never been hit as hard in one game as he was by Edmonton. And Ray Elgard said every play was like a gang war. And now, more of that tonight. Lots of rooms near the ice machine for the Saskatchewan Roughriders tonight. Gain of a couple for Mims at 2nd and 8. Early movement by the Ticats. Samuel Hairston jumped offside. And more pushing and shoving. That time on the other side, Keith Embray got into it with John James, number 64. John Terry, number 51, in there as well. You wouldn't think normally that Hamilton and Saskatchewan would have much of a fierce rivalry, but think back to 2 years ago, the last time they played in this stadium, Saskatchewan beat Hamilton in the last game of the regular season and knocked them out of the playoffs.
Offside.
Well, that's true.
Hamilton,
and I think,
number 92. Repeat, second down.
I think you have to consider the fact that neither team stunts a lot on defense with their front fours, and both teams are passing a heck of a lot tonight. So you get guys like Embry and John Terry who are playing against each other physically one-on-one for a heck of a lot of plays, and you know there's going to be some animosity, and I think that's the reason they don't do a lot of stunts. Just one-on-one football all night.
On 2nd and short, Jones to throw. Flags are down as he completes it to the far side and gets it there to Ray Elgard, and Elgard down to the 45-yard line, and that'll move the sticks. A Saskatchewan first down, and 36-year-old Ray Elgard has really had to take a different approach this year. He shares time, as you mentioned, with Dan Farley. He went to the coaches last week and asked for more time on special teams. In fact, he threw a key block to spring Aaron Ruffin on that 99-yard punt return.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know how smart that is to ask for more time on special teams. No, listen, that's a heck of a move. He knows his playing time is going to be reduced. Dan Farley, they have to find out, you know, what Dan Farley can give this team, and Ray's the kind of guy that wants to be involved in the action. So that's pretty admirable. I don't know how smart it is, but it sure is admirable.
Has now gone 9 games without a touchdown. Ray Elgard has not caught a touchdown pass since the Labor Day meeting with Winnipeg last year. His 2 touchdowns receiving last year were his fewest since his rookie year of 1983, and just 745 yards receiving. Yet, talk to the Saskatchewan players, Ray Elgard is still one of the most important people in their dressing room.
Well, I think he is from a chemistry standpoint, but you know, there's been a trend the last 3 years in the CFL. Changes, you know, you got more corners that are playing inside at halfbacks, and with teams playing a lot of man-to-man defense, you know, Ray Elgard's seeing tougher guys covering him. Now, they may be a little smaller, and maybe he can still be as physical as he once was, but he's being covered by faster people than he ever was early in his career, and I'm sure combined with the fact that he's slowing down a little bit, that's made it where his production has gone down.
8 1,000-yard receiving seasons for Ray Elgard, a CFL record, 6-time All-Canadian, 3-time top Canadian. And you know what? In a few years, there'll be a little statue of him in Hamilton at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they sure will.
Mike Philbrick got his hand caught in a face mask, but should be all right. He leads the field now. It's 1st and 10 for the Riders from the 45. Warren Jones tries the out, had a man, but got buried. Samuel Hairston came back to make the sack just as Warren Jones was about to hit a wide-open Curtis Mayfield.
Well, Samuel Hairston always plays to the wide side of the field. Here he is downfield, and I'm telling you, he comes like he's been shot out of a cannon right here. And, you know, when you dip your head and miss, as Robert Mims did, the quarterback pays the price. And Mims drops his head, and Samuel Hairston, who puts in his bio of dislikes quarterbacks.
At least he's honest. 2nd and 15. They set up the screen to try to take off some of that pressure. And they screen it up there to Tuipulotu, and that play has been tried 4 or 5 times tonight and has not worked. And that time, Joe Montford got up to stop it. And now, more pushing and shoving. I'll tell you what, you'd think these guys are right next door to each other, the way they're going at it tonight.
Well, it has been a physical game, and, you know, Hamilton, they've taken a little heat from their coach. Mostly on pass defense, but they've taken heat from their coach. And I think, you know, in their 3rd game of the season, you know, they're trying to establish themselves. Montford's been new to the team last year. Tiggle's new. They got some new guys, Donnie Robinson, and this is really the first full year Samuel Hairston's been a starter. So I think they're trying to show Don Southern that they've got a lot of moxie, and all these little altercations are taking place.
Brent Maddich. Whoa, what a punt by Maddich.
Too good.
Bounces in the end zone where Matt Cody will pick it up. And this will be a single point for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Boy, did Maddich boom that one. That was like 70 yards total, about 55 of it in the air. What a punt by Maddich. A single point for Saskatchewan, although they might have preferred the field position.
Yeah, I think he'd have just as soon had that one hit on the one and bounce straight up in the air and not get the single point. Nevertheless, it was a pretty solid punt.
Ooh. Both guys booming it tonight. Well, you talked about letting teams off the hook, and here are the Saskatchewan Roughriders kind of hanging in there. And remember, in the game against the Edmonton Eskimos last week at Taylor Field, Saskatchewan scores 13 points in the 4th quarter.
They're not thinking about that now. They said, well, we just get this into the 4th quarter, and it's our quarter. I'm sure that's what they're saying on the sideline.
What's this? Dunnigan gives it off to Tony Stewart. A running play? And he gets up to about the 43-yard line. By the way, Saskatchewan has scored 1 point here in the 3rd quarter. That's right on their season average. They've scored 1 point in each 3rd quarter of their 4 games this season.
Consistent team.
Consistency is the hallmark of a champion, they say. They might want to put a number after that one.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Dunnigan has time, and look at the room to run. Dunnigan, first down, tons more as he stumbles across midfield and down to the Saskatchewan 52-yard line. Matt Dunnigan couldn't find anyone open and did what he does best. He rambles for a pickup of 20 yards. And Matt Dunnigan, look at this. 2 behind Normie Kwong on the all-time rushing list. He'd be 1 behind him if Earl Winfield hadn't taken a holding penalty on that play about 2 series ago.
I don't think you'll catch George, though.
No. And they go back to the ground here, and this is once again Tony Stewart. And he gets down to about the 45-yard line, close to a first down.
You know, I talked to John Salavanis, the offensive line coach at Hamilton. I said, how do you and your guys like this with no running plays, but guys like Miles Gurrell and you get Val St. Germain coming from the offside, this is what they want to do occasionally because, I mean, it is tough play after play to just pass block. And, you know, the coach, John Salavanis of the offensive line, said, yeah, it is a problem for us, but that's our philosophy right now, and slowly we'll try and get a little more running into our attack.
Throwing here on 2nd and short for Ted Long. He dropped it. Bruce Bevel was there on the coverage, and it falls incomplete. Miles Gurrell told me yesterday that one thing about running the football is it gives your offensive line tremendous confidence. When you run the ball well, the offensive linemen feel like they're controlling the line of scrimmage. And, you know, Miles might know a thing or two about that since he's playing in his 306th CFL game behind only Lou Pasaglia. And no offense to Lou Pasaglia and Bob Cameron, but when a guy plays 306 games on the offensive line, that's some kind of accomplishment.
Yeah, I think it is. You know, for Miles, too, you know, when you pass block, so, I mean, you're catching guys all night. At least when you run the ball, you get to be a little more aggressive and tee off on somebody.
Osbaldiston waits a moment and now sends it down to about the 13-yard line. Ruffin gets out across the 20 to about the 21-yard line. There's a flag down at the Saskatchewan 11-yard line. Just a 32-yard punt. And this may be no yards. Aaron Ruffin is down and injured on the play. This would be a huge blow for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, as Ruffin not only plays defensive back, but he also is key on special teams. And no yards is the call against Hamilton. So it'll move the ball up to the 29-yard line.
You know, you mentioned DB and special teams. Last year he didn't do that. He was a nickelback, and I felt like he had a lot of energy for those punt returns. I think that was one of the reasons why Jim Daly had him doing that. Now, you know, through the talent level they have, they need him to play in the secondary as well. You kind of wonder over the course of a season if he'll be as effective returning punts and kickoffs with all that extra work.
And it's got to be tough on a night like tonight. And there's Don Narcisse waiting to go to work. A big week for Don Narcisse last week. In fact, this season he's leapfrogged over 2 legendary Canadian Football League players in the all-time reception category. Against the Ottawa Roughriders last week, he moved past Tommy Joe Coffey. In the last 2 weeks, he's moved by Tom Scott and Tommy Joe Coffey into 3rd on the CFL's all-time catch list. He had 656 coming into this football game. And so Don Narcisse quietly moving up on the leaders. When you pass Tommy Joe Coffey and Tom Scott, that's a pretty exclusive company.
But you said it in the second quarter, and it's so true that, I mean, he's just done his job so well, but everybody kind of doesn't know about it. I mean, he was an All-Canadian last year, certainly got recognition with the selection people that really, you know, appreciate and know him. But, you know, I guess in Regina, he just doesn't get the national recognition that some of the other receivers might.
Jones guns it out to the far side, complete there to Ray Elgard, who gets up to the 37-yard line, just short of a Saskatchewan first down. And of course, when you got the CFL's all-time leading receiver on your team, that's a pretty long shadow.
And Ray Elgard has had most of the attention. When Jeff Fairholm was there, he had a lot of attention too. So for Don Narcisse, you know, a guy who's done everything you could ask of him, not a lot of people knew about it.
2nd and short for the Green Riders. And the give goes to Robert Mims, who easily gets the first down as he crashes across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Time winding down in the 3rd quarter, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders hanging in there, down by just 11 points and ready to make a game of it in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and you see on the first play of this series, they get 8 yards on the quick out. Now you can run with Mims, and you know that's going to be the key for Saskatchewan from here on in. That first down production that's made it so easy. When they've been second and long, they've really struggled tonight.
Another first down for the Green Riders. And Jones is back to throw. Just as he got hit, delivers, and Curtis Mayfield has the catch at the 41-yard line. Warren Jones might not have seen that. In fact, he was probably looking at the lights when that catch was made, but he makes the completion.
He's really hung in a couple of times to deliver footballs tonight. And watch this post corner pattern. It's going to take Greer hard inside right there, and boom, back to the corner. Now, I mean, not a spectacular pattern, but somehow he got separation away from Derek Greer, made a good catch, and Jones hung in to deliver the football to him.
A 28-yard gain. First down, Saskatchewan just outside the 40. This should be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Mims just dives across the 40 as his old pal Calvin Tiggle gets up to help make the stop. That's the final play of the 3rd quarter as the Hamilton Ticats enjoy a 24-13 lead over the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
CFL Live at the quarter. Brought to you by Subway, the place where fresh is the taste.
Well, 24-13 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but the Saskatchewan Roughriders are moving the ball, so there will be optimism in Saskatchewan. I have to mention the province, the great province of Saskatchewan. I was there last week. Got to throw that in. My wife and kids are still there. But, Obi, let's talk about Matt Dunnigan. Sorry, had to do it. Otherwise, the family disowned you. Let's talk about Matt Dunnigan. You mentioned that Saskatchewan, they're only rushing 4 right now. They're dropping everybody back in coverage, and Dunnigan's eluding those 4 and running for a lot of yards.
Makes a heck of a difference when you've got a quarterback that can run and they're using that no-huddle offense. It'll wear down the Saskatchewan front 4, and rushing 3 and 4 is tough against a running quarterback.
The other thing I see right now is the line of scrimmage, and the coach will tell you that the game is won and lost down there in the trenches, and I think right now Hamilton's starting to take advantage of that fatigue factor and dominate the line of scrimmage in both sides of the ball.
I think it's incumbent upon the Saskatchewan general manager, Alan Ford, to go out and find a good quarterback. Warren Jones has now played 3 games and 3 quarters and has thrown 1 touchdown pass. That's not good enough in the CFL. Although he's having an okay game,
I think
it's still not good enough.
Warren in this game anyway.
If they win this game, Marty,
you're not going to win this game. Hamilton wins by more than 11. I told you at the beginning I'm sticking with it.
We'll see what happens. There's still a quarter of football to be played. Hey, Leaf, that was a great post corner as well. That was your bread and butter, wasn't it?
Yeah, Leafer loved that one. 24-13, Hamilton leads as we get set for the 4th quarter here in the Steel City. And the numbers through the 3rd quarter. Hey, the Saskatchewan Roughriders hung in there and trailing by just 11 points. Look at the net yards, not much to choose, and rushing yards. Saskatchewan has just 49, but has thrown the ball for more yards than the high-octane Hamilton offense. And
well, I think, you know, when you look at these numbers, I think certainly it's been Warren Jones' best passing night of this season, but the problem really for Saskatchewan has been they've had horrible field position all night. All their drives have started from deep in their own territory, and you know, they've been playing on a very, very long football field tonight.
2nd and long for the Riders to open the 4th quarter. Here comes the blitz. Jones gets it away, but the pass is well over the head of Ray Elgard, and they threw everything but the kitchen sink at Warren Jones. And there's a guy in the building who knows what that blitz looks like. There's Doug Flutie of the Toronto Argonauts. Flutie was home watching this game tonight, but the blackout went into effect sometime in the 1st quarter. He lives right on the border between Mississauga and Burlington, or Mississauga and Oakville, and so all of a sudden he lost the game. So he drove to the stadium to watch it. His team plays Ottawa this week and then takes on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And we've got the Argos and the Ottawa Roughriders coming your way Wednesday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific here on TSN. I like that, sitting at home and all of a sudden the game. Well, it happened to me once on a hockey game, you know. I was just sitting there watching and all of a sudden the picture disappeared.
Well, I think it's great when you live close enough to the stadium. You can just say, well, heck with that. I'm going to jump in the car and go over and sit up there in the box and watch the game.
See, I couldn't do that because the hockey game was in Europe.
Ah.
Yeah, so it would have taken a long time to get out there.
Well, Doug, he's getting ready, you know, and it's like I said earlier about Toronto. I think this team's just going to get better and better each week. They're going to be tough. And Donnie Matthews, proven over the years, terrific game day coach, and he's brought new discipline to that organization.
Paul McCallum misses from the 47-yard line. Sam Rogers thinking about it. No, he'll kneel down and give up the single point to the Riders. And they now trail by 10. Early in the 4th quarter, the Riders down by a dime.
Play Safeway's Touchdown to Win. If your name appears below, you may have won a Daewoo 27-inch high-resolution color TV with multi-channel stereo TV sound, multi-mode on-screen display, and full-function infrared remote control. Or Timex His and Her watches with Indiglo nightlight. It illuminates the entire dial with just the right amount of light to read anywhere. Timex Indiglo. You don't think you need one until you have one. Touchdown to Win ballots available exclusively at all participating Safeway stores.
The Olympic spirit, to strive, to soar, to face any challenge. It means so much more in real life. That's why we created the Spirit of Canada Fund, to support programs that help develop, train, and show our children that in life, as in sport, anything is possible.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you in part by Diet Pepsi. Diet Pepsi has no diet aftertaste. By the Keg Steakhouse and Bar, where good friends get together to enjoy great steaks and share some fun. And by the Alliance of Canada's only full-service telecommunications companies, proud sponsors of the Canadian Olympic team.
Sunset in Hamilton. Is that a Sinatra song? No, maybe not. Gorgeous night here in the so-called Golden Horseshoe. 24-14, Hamilton leads Saskatchewan. And now the Riders will try to do what they did to the Edmonton Eskimos just a few days ago, and that is put lots of points in the fourth quarter and, for lack of a better term, steal one. Now it's the Ticats' ball, 1st and 10 from their own 40-yard line. Here comes the rush on Dunnigan. Lots of time. Gets it to Tony Stewart. And Stewart bounces out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Call it a pickup of 6 yards. And it'll bring up 2nd and 4 for the Ticats. And suddenly Tony Stewart playing a much larger role in the offense. John Jenkins, the offensive coordinator, told me yesterday, Leif, that they'd like to get the ball to Tony Stewart 15 times. Not necessarily hand it to him, but just get the ball in his hands 15 times a game.
Yeah, and I think they'll evolve into that. You know, I think they're just getting comfortable with personnel and everything right now. But I think Tony Stewart, as I said earlier in the game, has played a much bigger role.
Pressure on Dunnigan, and he is down. LeBrant Robinson gets in there along with Bobby Jurison. And is Bobby Jurison having some kind of night? The 31-year-old looks 10 years younger out there chasing down Matt Dunnigan.
Well, these guys are in great shape because they've done a lot of running tonight. And Jurison had a sack a couple of series ago. Now he keeps coming on Dwayne Morgan, keeps working to the inside, finally gets rid of him and comes up and gets in with LeBrant Robinson on the play and on the sack. And, you know, they need to start this fourth quarter with some big plays to get back into it. And they get one from Bobby. What does he need the jacket for? This is hot out tonight.
I was just going to say, they're going to take me home in a styrofoam cup, and he's wearing a jacket. Ballison is back to punt. And Aaron Ruffin is back deep to receive. Oh, what a kick by Osbaldiston. Ruffin has it bounced down around the 5. And he might get to the 6. What a punt by Osbaldiston. 68 yards. Are they using helium footballs?
I think he snuck a couple of helium balls in there tonight because he's having one of the best nights I've ever seen him have for kicking the football. I mean, not only is he getting hang time, I mean, he's getting maximum yardage. Aaron Ruffin couldn't even catch up with this thing.
Watch this again. I mean, this is like, that's like a Dunnigan throw.
That's pretty smooth stroke right there.
And Osbaldiston loving that.
Well, he should. You know, his cover team worked hard to get down there, and he's just nailed Saskatchewan in an enormous hole.
So Osbaldiston gets the job done. A stockbroker during the day, and his stock might have gone up a little bit there. And down on the play is Ryan Carey, just picked up by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You mentioned the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, an All-Canadian at Acadia University. And let's see what happened to him here.
Now here's Ryan Carey right here. You know, watch and see what happens. I think he gets rolled on at the end of this play from behind. There you see a Hamilton player gets him, and, you know, Sam Rogers got into him there. But sometimes you get that hyperextension of the back of the knee.
Saskatchewan is down by 10 with a long way to go, but they've done this before. The CFL Live returns to Hamilton right after this.
So which joke should I lead with?
A funny one?
Thanks.
So did you hear the one about the guy who didn't use new Head & Shoulders?
I used it.
And it looks like you stopped.
Oh, that's not funny.
New Head & Shoulders works better than ever in setting up zones of protection against dandruff. Ordinary shampoo washes that protection away, so flakes come back, but not with new Head & Shoulders.
Hair looks great.
Should I become a male model?